WNEM TV5 Evening Extra is brought to you by the Law Office of Carol Thomas.
Thanks for tuning in to TV5 Evening Extra. Crashes, pileups, and closures, all from slick, wintry roads. While the snow has slowed down, more bitter cold is moving into the region. Chief Meteorologist Chris Eastlick is in the Weather Center preparing for not one, but two first alert weather days coming up this weekend. Chris?
Jet, we commonly expect wind chills to be between about 10 and 20 degrees below zero as we wrap up the week. But do you think there's potential for the wind chills to be as low as about 25 to 30 below, which means our frostbite times can be less than 30 minutes, and it could be more of a prolonged stretch of cold weather on Friday compared to Saturday, which could have an impact on schools later this week. So cold weather alerts. So we do have an extreme cold watch. This issued by the National Weather Service, and every single TV5 county is under this for that possibility of being as cold as about 25 to 30 degrees below zero. Now, this is similar to a winter storm watch where the watch eventually gets changed to an advisory or a warning. It is going to be similar this time around, and as soon as that happens, we will let you know. Our temperatures around the area tonight, upper teens to upper 20s, even a few low 30s. So much warmer today. Probably doesn't feel like it, but it's at least a break from some of the wind chills of yesterday, and our feels like temperatures are in positive territory this afternoon, which is also a nice change. Our winds primarily westerly between 5 and 15. There is a chance locally they could start to climb a little bit this evening as we get another cold front that comes through. That cold front could lead to more snow showers. We're not seeing many in downtown Saginaw for the moment, but we have plenty on the western side of the state, and some of those will find their way into our area later on tonight. We expect some of the heaviest to be in our southern zones where we could pick up another inch or two of snow. The rest of your forecasts, including a look at the weekend and next week coming up.
Thank you, Chris. As that Arctic blast heads our way, local leaders are urging people to take care of their pets. Experts at Genesee County Animal Control say if it's too cold for you, it's too cold for them. And any temperature below 32 degrees can quickly become unsafe for animals. As TV5's Zane O'Meara explains, while it is legal in Michigan for animals to live outside, the freezing temperatures can turn deadly quickly.
17 pounds, supposed to weigh 45 pounds.
A dog named Daisy, rescued by animal control officers after Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson says she was found starving and freezing to death in a backyard. Her owner charged with a 4-year felony of animal abuse with intent to torture or kill.
We're entering a week of terrible cold temperatures, people that don't take care of their animals. This is the time where these animals suffer even more.
Social media coordinator for Genesee County Animal Control, Hannah Peterson, says they usually receive an uptick in calls during cold spells.
The best thing that you can do for your pet is just bring them inside. Dogs and animals feel things just like people do.
While it's not illegal to keep an animal outside, Peterson says you must provide it with proper water, food, and shelter, which can be difficult to maintain when it's freezing.
Some people will actually put blankets and towels in the dog houses, which is something that you want to avoid at all costs. If they spill their water, if they urinate, anything like that, and it gets on that towel or blanket, it will freeze. They have to have straw, and the dog house itself has to be large enough for the animal to fit in comfortably, but not so large that they have all of this extra room where it's harder to kind of heat themselves up.
And the bitter cold can cause frostbite, hypothermia, or death.
It can happen within minutes where they're picking up their paws just because it's too cold. It's starting to cause them pain and discomfort. If they seem low energy, they're not really behaving like how they normally would. These are all definitely signs to look out for.
If you are concerned about an animal, Peterson urges people to make a report, which is anonymous.
We send officers out to the property. They're evaluating, they're kind of looking at the shape of the dog as well. If the dog is extremely skinny, emaciated, that is definitely a concern for us, and that's not something that we're going to overlook just because they have food, water, shelter.
Genesee County Animal Control is looking for donations for their straw tent, where pet owners can get free straw for outside animals in the winter. For indoor pets, Peterson recommends limiting time outside by keeping bathroom breaks brief and turning to indoor play instead of walks.
Over 90% of U.S. parents reported being concerned about their child's online safety. That number there, 90%, is an indictment on the current status quo.
State Senator Kevin Hertel says that statistic is the reason why he and Democratic lawmakers are introducing the Kids Over Clicks package. The Senate Dems are going after tech companies creating what they call addictive online algorithms. They say the engagement, like comments and likes, trigger dopamine in the brain, and overuse can rewire children's brains to constantly seek out more immediate gratification. On those same sites, data is being tracked and sold to data brokers who build profiles to use for targeted advertising to influence future purchases. Hertel says the legislation not only strengthens data privacy for minors, but puts parents back in the driver's seat.
Parents will have the ability to manage their children's privacy and account settings, restrict purchases and financial transactions of their children on social media platforms, view the total time their children have spent online, and place reasonable limits on their screen time.
The legislation would also allow parents to place limits on their screen time and restrict use at certain hours of the day. The package also includes a bill that would make AI companion chatbots inaccessible for Michigan children. A former associate pastor at Living Word Church in Midland is back in court tomorrow for a plea hearing. Across two cases, 73-year-old Randy Saylor is accused of committing sex crimes against a child and a family member. He faces 15 criminal sexual conduct charges. Saylor was scheduled to face trial twice in September, but both were adjourned. His plea hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 3:30 at the Midland County Courthouse. The Grand Blanc Township Board of Trustees has passed a moratorium on data centers for 1 year. The moratorium will reject any and all applications until the period is over, unless shortened or extended by the board. In the meantime, the township will go through the zoning ordinance and figure out the best way to address data centers. The township attorney says there are concerns over the use of energy and water.
We're taking the time to do the investigation, but my concern would be, like, if one popped up tomorrow with an application and wanted to go into Tech Village, and they went in and they took all of the power that consumers could allocate there and all of the or all the water usage, then we have a whole master plan for that area, and suddenly none of the other development can happen because it's used all those resources.
The township superintendent says no data centers have officially approached them. 2 people are dead and another was injured after a head-on crash in Clare County. The Clare County Sheriff's Office says it happened on US 127 near Cullenville Road in Grant Township on Sunday afternoon. They say an Interlochen woman was driving north when she crossed over to the southbound side, hitting a truck driven by an Indiana man. Both drivers died, and a 16-year-old boy was taken to an area hospital for his injuries. The crash is still under investigation. Registration is now open for a hands-on learning summer camp. After the break, what local high schoolers will learn during Northwood University's Lab Week. Plus, bear the cold this weekend at Flint Children's Museum. The family fun planned for the Polar Party still ahead. A large police presence on Saginaw's Beechwood Avenue led to several arrests today. Saginaw police say one person was wanted in a homicide investigation. 3 others were arrested on unrelated charges. Police say there was no danger to the public. New tonight, a piece of metal lattice bears a deeper meaning for many in the Flint area, helping families and friends grieve those they've lost. TV5's Zane Omer found the woman behind the memorial to find out what inspired her to lock into the project.
This spot on Hammerberg and 12th Street is best known for the rock, where artists regularly come and decorate. But now, a new creation for people to remember loved ones who have passed.
He was loyal as the day is long to his friends and his family, and he loved his mom.
Brandy Black lost her son Cole Carter when he died from fentanyl poisoning in 2022.
His son was only 21, which is not, he had a whole life to live.
Black, inspired by a similar memorial in Zanesville, Ohio, to remember the lives lost due to drug overdose, building this lattice with her husband she calls the lock wall.
When you lose a loved one, you don't ever want them to be forgotten. And to me, the lock represents locking in a moment in time so that it holds a space and time for them.
Located next to the rock in Flint.
The wall gets painted over so quickly. Sometimes it's only up there for hours. And so this kind of holds it a little bit, holds it for them longer.
Every lock has a name and story behind it.
A lot of people get uncomfortable when you bring up their name. And, you don't want people to be uncomfortable when you talk about that person because you need to hear their name.
Cole's name living on in bold red letters at the top, bringing attention to his story and the dangers of fentanyl poisoning.
There's these fake pills, and these kids maybe are struggling studying, and somebody offers them an Adderall, or they're stressed out about this or that, so somebody offers them a Xanax. They think that those are safe, and that's not the case. It's pressed fentanyl.
But the wall is for anyone who has lost someone, which Black hopes will bring healing for those holding the key.
It's probably different for everybody, but just to be able to see their loved one's name on the lock. And then when other people come, they might see and recognize that name, and it kind of keeps that person's name out there and keeps their name alive.
At a place where love is always locked in. In Flint, Zane Omer, WNEM TV5.
Still unfolding, a plan to help bring back Trout Lake in Gladwin County. State Representative Mike Hoadley submitted a plan to get $2.5 million in grant money to make critical improvements. In the fall of 2024, the state cited the Trout Lake Dam as being in poor condition with devices at risk of failure and more. An emergency drawdown of the lake happened in July to prevent a collapse. Hoadley says that if the proposed funding is approved, it would be dedicated to the restoration and preservation of the lake. Rosie the Riveter Day spotlights Michigan's legacy in manufacturing, aerospace, and farming during World War II. But help is needed in order to honor those who helped reshape America's workforce. The Capital Area Manufacturing Council is looking for descendants, relatives, and community members with connections to that era. That's because the council wants their stories or any items associated with them from that time for the Rosie the Riveter Day celebration on March 13th at the Capital Region International Airport in Lansing. It's also asking families of living World War II era Rosies and veterans who are homebound and unable to go to the event to reach out to them. Anyone interested can shoot a message to the email address you see on your screen. They can also visit the hot link section on our website. As we count down to America's 250th birthday, we're highlighting what happened on this day in history. In 1972, Kogel Meats moved into his manufacturing plant on Bristol Road near Bishop Airport in Flint Township. According to the company, it was built by the founder's son, and the location has been beneficial because of its proximity to I-75 and I-69. Its current plant wasn't the first, as the company has been in operation for over 100 years. Kogel's currently has 32 recipes in 64 different products. You can register your high school student to get hands-on experience during a business summer camp. Applications are now open for Northwood University's Lab Week. The free summer camp gives high school students a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to create, launch, and grow a business. Organizers say throughout the week, students collaborate with peers, learn directly from entrepreneurs, and tackle a real-world business challenge. Lab Week runs from June 14th through the 19th. You can learn more and register in the hot link section of WNEM.com. This weekend, your family can bear the cold at the Flint Children's Museum with a polar party. Families can explore the cold with activities like sock skating, an ice sensory bin, and ice painting. There will also be several Northern Light dance parties throughout the day where kids can challenge the cold with a mini polar plunge and walk away with a polar bear friend to take home. Sunday's Bear the Cold polar party at the Flint Children's Museum runs from noon to 4.
We'll look at downtown Flint tonight where things are dry for the moment. However, that will likely change as we head into the late evening and overnight hours. There is more snow on the western side of the state that will eventually find its way into mid-Michigan a little bit later on. Seems like we do have some snow showers at least within the vicinity of downtown Flint. Do think they'll be heavier a little bit later tonight and into the overnight hours. As far as your forecast goes, it will likely just be scattered snow. No major systems coming through as far as organization that's going to impact the entire region. There is a cold front that will likely support some of these showers and lead to some more intense pockets later tonight. But overall, no major storm systems expected in the coming days. Now, as far as your hour-by-hour forecast is concerned, we do expect our southern counties to have somewhat of a better chance tonight to pick up some better snowfall rates compared to areas a little bit farther to the north. So I think these areas may have a better chance to pick up around an inch or two of snow. We'll likely have some scattered snow showers the rest of the night that move on, maybe starting the day relatively quiet on Thursday before yet another cold front comes through on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening, which will lead to not only another round of scattered snow, but also the cold temperatures that we expect to end the week, in addition to some of the cold wind chills that will be coming along with it. So accumulations tonight and through the day tomorrow, right around an inch or two in some of those southern counties. I do think between tonight's round and whatever falls tomorrow night, we'll have the chance to add roughly about a half inch each time to some of these other areas that are reporting an inch of snow. So I do think between the two events, you're picking up in most cases about a half inch to an inch each time, and then eventually things just move on. So when you spread it out over the course of several hours, I don't necessarily think it's too significant. Just occasionally drive with caution out on the roads as you typically would do this time of year. Low temperatures right around the teens, average is 16, so we're a little under that in some locations tonight, but not far off. But we don't recover all that much tomorrow. Upper teens to low 20s, average high right around 29. So we're about 10 to 15 degrees below that tomorrow. Wind chills really start dropping off in the second half of tomorrow. I think we'll start to see values closer to about 20 to 30 below at times on Friday morning. It's important to say that I don't think it will be this low the entire time, but I do think we'll have occasions where we do drop to that level. It seems like we've gotten enough consistency in our data to feel at least reasonable about that. Because of it, we do have those first alert weather days in place for Friday and Saturday, and Friday, of course, could impact schools later this week. We also have a winter storm that will primarily impact areas to our south as we head towards the weekend, but it has taken a little nudge to the north today, which means we could be on the northern fringe of some snow as we head towards Sunday especially, so we will keep you updated on that. Your 7-day forecast shows temperatures next week will be a little bit warmer in the teens and low 20s, but not much. I still expect us to finish the month on a below average note.
Thank you, Chris. And with the first alert forecast calling for that coldest air we've seen this season, a local plumber says it's important for homeowners, especially who have crawl spaces, to be prepared. TV5's James Felton found out how you can protect your pipes to avoid costly damage.
Usually as soon as the single digits hits, you can expect the phone to start ringing off the hook.
Aaron Gross is the owner of Pros Plumbing and Sewer. He says if you have a crawl space, when temperatures hit single digits, it's almost a necessity to insulate your crawl space or make sure your crawl space has ducts heating that area. With the first alert forecast calling for the coldest air we've seen this season to arrive at the end of the week, Gross says now is the time to make sure your pipes are protected.
There's several different ways you can go about that. Probably the best way would be to have your crawl space insulated. which you could do that with spray foam, or if it's something you want to attempt like a DIY thing, you could do foam board. Just do the outside perimeter of the crawl space. You can also do pipe insulation, which is basically pipe insulation. You just wrap around your pipes, and then if you don't have none of that, you can just a simple trickle of the faucet usually does the trick. It doesn't need to be a lot, just a steady drip. Moving water typically doesn't freeze, so as long as you got a little bit, that should help.
Given that, Gross tells us if a pipe bursts, it can be a big headache for the homeowner.
You could get into flooded crawl spaces depending on how early it's caught, because you don't know if that's going to happen at 2 in the morning, 3 a.m. when you're sleeping. And then depending on the location of that pipe, I've seen them to where they're spraying on the subfloors, and then your whole floor gets, warped and stuff from the water damage.
Gross says pipe repairs will be a few $100s. It gets more expensive if you have flooding or water damage. James Felton, WNEM, TV5.
All new tonight, a cat trapped in a tree for 40 hours during a storm received life-saving surgery. How the community stepped up in tonight's Can't Miss Moment on the news at 10 on the Great Lakes Sports and Entertainment Network. Then on TV5 News at 11, flu season is picking up. Why doctors say we're seeing another spike among kids. Plus.
Hey, this is Chris calling from San Francisco. Who am I speaking with?
Learn about a social experiment that aims to connect people with different political backgrounds.
In your 7-day forecast, shows a very cold end to the week for Friday and Saturday, but things do improve a little bit as we go into next week. But improvement is relative in this case. Still expecting to be below average Monday through Wednesday of next week. A chance for some snow this weekend and also some scattered snow going into Thursday as well.
And if you want to hear more about the weather, head on over to our digital live stream at 9 o'clock tonight. You can join that stream at WNEM.com, on the TV5 YouTube and Facebook pages, on our Roku and Fire Stick channels, and on the TV5 News app. Thanks for watching WNEM Evening Extra. Of course, keep up with us as the news breaks online, on our app, or on social media. We'll see you on TV5 at 11.